I'll get my Audacity all
And
set.
Create likes.
You know what? I'll do, yeah,
And
get
it's
recording
all-
software up.
It's all working.
We don't have to be recording. God,
Right,
forget.
right. Yeah, let's just start our recordings right now. I was about to
And
start
nobody asked, but I have 2 BioShock Funko Pops and then the Diva one. Because I know what I like.
Good way to start the stream, Adeline.
Hey, wait, what
Well,
did you
everybody
Here's how many
said what
BioShock
Funko
Funko
Pops
Pops
I
I have.
had, and I didn't get to say what Funko Pops I had.
All
I
right.
only got 3.
do I have
Everybody
to
else got to say the
Hey,
Funko
I'm
Pops.
sorry, am I recording? What are you guys doing? You're recording and I'm just sitting here, right?
No.
So
On
we
Audacity,
just want you.
what you downloaded?
Yeah, just open Audacity and start recording your voice at any point.
Oh,
as
well,
soon as
nobody
possible.
told me that. What are you guys talking about? Why have
Oh.
we been wasting our time talking about Funko Pops?
I thought Adeline had prepped you.
That's why I told you need to download Audacity. I thought you understood what that meant. Hold
Well,
on.
I have it.
It's
Oh
okay.
my
Hold on.
god.
It's
I need
okay,
more.
Mom. It's not.
We
It's
haven't
not.
actually started yet.
Yeah,
so.
you
I'm
don't.
opening it right now. I can handle it. I just didn't know what the heck.
I don't believe you.
I
Do I need to
had
come over
the-
there?
I had the stream open on
Mhm.
another page that I didn't realize, and I just heard everyone talking like 3 times the amount that they really were, and it was very confusing.
Audacity, yes.
So what I was gonna say was I went back and I watched the old Winnie the Pooh movie, the like original one, and that movie is so funny, like
Yeah.
in ways
What do
that
you mean? What do you mean original one?
like the one that we used to watch as a kid, the like 1950
On the
whatever.
VHS.
Oh,
animated.
with the Heffalump?
Yeah,
With the Heffalump?
and like just the way Winnie the Pooh talks is so funny, and like the weird like gentle sound design where it's like his belly rumbles and it's like pss, 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 pss. It's like there's something sincerely very funny about that to me, and I don't know what it is.
What's
but it cracks me up.
What's the meme that's been going around on Tumblr? It's from that superhero Amazon show where the dad like almost kills his son or whatever, but he's going, think whatever, think.
Oh,
but
yeah.
someone made it so it's Winnie the Pooh, and he's going, think. It's really good.
Winnie the Pooh is one of those like nostalgic things that just makes me so sad. Like it's so wistfully
Right.
just if I think about it for too long, if I think about Tigger, if I think about like Piglet, it just makes me so sad. I don't think I can watch Winnie the Pooh.
Then Kezia, have I got a movie for you? It's called Christopher Robin. It is literally
I saw
weaponizing
it.
exactly
I
that.
saw it. The scene
What a weird movie.
the scene where he's with Pooh on the train and Pooh's like, a red balloon. And he's like, why do you need a red balloon? And he's like, I don't need one, but I would like one very much. Like that just hits me in the heart so. It's just a very specific way that I'll think about it and I'll just start crying.
That needs to be high on the list of movies we do on the podcast eventually. Because
Christopher. We could do Christopher Robin with Dad because he loves that movie.
Oh, do it for Father's Day.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what we'll do.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have Audacity open and I just clicked record.
Okay.
Yes.
It says built-in microphone. Do I need to change anything?
No, I think that'll do her.
That should be your microphone, yeah. You feel like at the one.
Recording you guys too?
No, just you.
We're recording ourselves. So
I know, but the green bar is like popping all over the place.
Here, let me.
Do you need to have headphones in? Do you have headphones in, or is it just playing over your speaker?
It's just playing over my speaker.
Okay, if you could do headphones instead, that'll stop that.
Yeah.
Headphones?
Okay, let me.
You could. What's that? You know that thing? This was like a few years ago online, but it was like the Dolan twins or one of those guys.
The ones who dance.
They had a rap that was like, "Think that you're a loser, stop that." They
yes,
like, think that you hate yourself, stop that. And you're like,
Oh,
wow, they literally ended depression, they ended bullying, yeah, like making fun of someone for being poorer than you, stop that.
Okay.
That's what's in my brain.
So hey, what's up, chat? I should be talking to the chat.
What's up, chat?
Be nice today. This is our real life mom.
We didn't hire anybody.
This is all of
my
our
mom
moms
too.
Just be nice.
Keisha
Behave
Rhodes
yourselves.
McMurray.
Yeah. I was adopted into the McMurray clan. The McMurrays.
But yeah, that Christopher Robin movie, who's the guy who directed
Is
that?
a masterpiece.
Yeah, like there are like whole sections of that movie that are like directed like a horror movie. It is so wild.
Yeah, no, it's 90% of it is a horror movie.
It's true. And like it's so dark and gloomy.
Yeah, like there's that section where like Winnie the Pooh is like bumbling around Christopher Robin's house and like knocking stuff off of shelves and stuff, and it's all color graded this like sickly yellow, and it's got these really like shallow focus, like really wild close-ups on things. You're like, what's about to happen? Like, what's Winnie the Pooh about to do to this guy?
He's about to murder somebody.
When I went and saw I saw Christopher Robin in theaters, the one we're talking about. And then literally I was like, hey, the Nun's on right now. And we're already here. And so I went and bought tickets to see the Nun and just walked 5 feet over.
Right.
And I laughed at the Nun. I got a little spooked in Christopher Robin. Because there's a scene in The Nun where like she comes out of the water and she's like, yeah. I laughed out loud. Nobody else did in the theater, but I thought it was hilarious.
I kind of like.
Well, there's that. What's the part in The Nun where they're like in that long hallway and then the Nun like sidesteps behind somebody out of like a door in the hallway? That shot was in the trailer, and I always thought that shot was really funny.
Yeah.
Because there's that part of Christopher Robin where they're like walking through the forest, and first of all they're playing the terrifying heffalump sound that sounds like a demon, but then Christopher Robin falls into this terrifying hole with like roots coming out of the sides, and then it starts pouring rain and it fills up with water like he's gonna drown. Like,
yeah, that's right.
That movie's just buck wild.
Okay, when was the last time you guys watched that movie? Because I barely remember it.
Yeah, I don't know, years ago.
It just sticks. I've only seen it once because it's so sad to me.
So okay, so guess what movie? So Christopher Robin was directed by Mark Foster. Guess what his most recent movie was at the time he was directing Christopher Robin? It was World War Z. World War Z was his last project.
World War Z.
That makes sense. That tracks.
I've only seen World War Z. I saw it at the University of Calgary, like literally maybe 7 years after it came out, because they're offering it for free to students, which my cousins are students there. But then I had to stay for a lecture afterwards about how diseases spread. So they showed the film.
Oh no!
Also free. All of the snacks are free.
Cool,
and then they're like, all right, here's our professor on diseases.
Here's how this will happen in real life.
And then they just kept saying World War Z. And I'm like, that sounds so stupid. When you don't say Z. I know they say Z in Canada, but like the point is supposed to sound like World War III. But they're like World War Z, World War Z, World War Z.
Keisha in the audience just be like, "What are you talking about?"
I was like, "You guys sound." I
just watched the wrong movie.
I've made a fool of myself in Canada before, and I'll do it again.
Right.
When I was really little, I had like one of those. We were at a restaurant, and then I had a menu that you can do like puzzles on and stuff, and they were like, "Color in your favorite food or whatever," and I pulled the waitress aside. I said, "Excuse me, I don't mean to embarrass you, but there's a typo in this. You spelled color wrong." And she was like, "What?" I didn't know.
In America, that would be embarrassing for you. If there was a typo, that would be embarrassing for you. Why would you say that to the waiter?
You little nerd.
I was like 7 or 8 years old. I was like, "There's a typo in this. You spelled color with a U."
Jackson, knowing who you were as a kid, do you think there was even a glimmer of a chance that you wouldn't do that exact same thing?
I would have said it to all of you guys. I wouldn't have said it to the waiter.
I didn't.
The waiter doesn't have control over it.
My head, in my childhood head, I was like, "This is so embarrassing for them. I'm trying to save them."
Right.
They look so uneducated with their typo.
I don't know if you guys know this, and I don't want to embarrass you, but like,
I just like
Okay.
I was like, there's a typo. And then
So
she was like, what are you talking about?
I actually looked up the spelling of hawk today.
Because you got confused by
Yeah.
Ladyhawke.
Because it has an E on the end.
Right.
Ladyhawke.
I was like, is that like a European spelling? The only thing I
Yeah.
could find is that that's how they spell the name Hawk.
I think, okay.
Which is
Like-
like kind of the joke.
Like
Yeah.
Ethan Hawk? Like, is that what they're trying to...
I think it just looks old Englishy. I think they're just
Yeah,
making
that's what I
stuff up
thought.
and they're like, ye old Ladyhawke. Like,
Ye old...
It's kind of like Matthew Broderick's accent in this whole movie.
Right.
It's like vaguely European.
sometimes.
So he's
Leave
an
Matthew alone.
So, hey,
Doing
I
his
love
best.
him.
reference to the
Right.
bird hawk being spelled with an E.
right. Okay, so speaking of Ladyhawke, what's up? Let's start the show. My name's Jackson McMurray.
McMurray, and I'm funny, but only when I'm not recording a podcast. Whoa.
My name is Kezia Rhodes, and it is neither day nor night at time of recording.
Okay. And
Should
Mom,
I
you can
introduce
introduce
myself?
yourself.
I'm Mom, also known as Jennifer McMurray, and I have no cute line here because nobody told me we were doing this.
Think on your feet, Mom.
Runs in the family.
I know.
Jackson didn't have one either, so.
Usually we don't. We just like to, even when it's not our mom, we just like to drop our guests in the deep end, just let them figure it out.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's cool. I'll flap
I guess
around.
we could warn them once.
Nah.
Nah.
Come up with something
Sometime.
a little quirky when you're introducing
It
yourself.
actually would have been too much
Different.
pressure. It would have been too much. This is fine.
Has to be
Yeah.
has to come naturally, you know.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
force it.
So I talked to for a moment last week about why we're doing Ladyhawke this week. Maybe I'll let Kezia and Mom tell the story in their
Okay.
own words.
This is how I remember it. So
Okay.
when we were in high school,
Uh-huh.
we were at your house one day, and I don't know how, but the movie Ladyhawke was brought up. I probably brought it up because I do bring this movie up more often than I should.
Okay, but I don't remember. Did you have like you had seen it? Like you had a reference for
Yes.
what it was? Okay.
I grew up watching this movie
Okay, yeah.
a lot. Like I saw this movie way before I saw Ferris Bueller. This was my introduction to 80s Matthew
Yeah.
The
Broderick.
Broderick
Well,
Ooh.
me
The
too.
Bron-
Don't
I
talk
just-
about this man's ooh.
I just liked this movie. I'd never this movie and Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid are just two movies
I
that
don't
my
know that
mom
one.
really liked. Maybe we can
Mom
next
movies?
year I'll bring my
Oh,
mom.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll do
There
that.
we go.
Mine.
So okay, I
But
mean,
it's-
I don't know. Adeline keeps saying she wants to do Ferris Bueller's Day Off with Dad, so maybe we just bring in our parents to do their favorite Matthew
Yeah.
Broderick flick.
Matthew Broderick film.
Yeah.
You got a whole theme going.
Yeah.
But I brought it up and your mom was like, "Oh yeah, I like Ladyhawke," and I said, "Okay, let's watch."
Let's do it. Let's watch it.
And
It's gonna be a thing.
it just seemed like you two both weren't interested in it, and our friend Dom also,
Oh, was he
there.
there? Was Dominic
and
there?
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
made a whole event and people came over. And
Yeah.
That
So
just for clarity, that Adeline and I were not invited to. We
No.
had
You could've,
no
but you
knowledge
just-
of this.
it didn't
I
seem
think
like
me
that.
and Jackson.
Wait, you guys
I think
weren't
me
there?
and Jackson. No, I think we went to Hastings or 7-Eleven or somewhere, and like we came home and Kezia was in our house.
Yeah. Like literally, Kezia just came over and we were like, Kezia, well, like, hi, like, but what are you doing here? And you're like, oh, I've got plans with
We're
your
watching
mom.
Ladyhawke.
Yeah.
because I needed someone to watch Ladyhawke with me.
Somebody would appreciate it.
Need an outlet.
I needed a Ladyhawke outlet, and I finally found
That's
one.
right.
Over
Exactly.
17 years of being on the planet.
And talking about Ladyhawke and nobody knowing what you're talking about.
Yeah, which sounds so crazy because you're like, oh, well, it's this movie where this woman is a bird
Oh,
during the
here's the
day and her
thing.
lover is a wolf at night, and then they're trying to figure it out, and Matthew Broderick is there, and maybe they're in France. Unclear.
Maybe.
And there's also
Wait,
80
what was the
the
town?
whole time.
I liked how they kept saying the town name over and over again. Aquila. Is that what it was?
Aquilar.
Aquila.
Aquila.
They definitely used a Q sound. It was definitely Aquila.
Yeah.
But the way
With
they
his
just-
vaguely European accent, it was hard to tell what the
Mm.
correct pronunciation is.
And
My
of course, Isabeau, because he said it like 50
Isabeau.
times.
Isabeau.
Isabeau. My
Uh,
Isabeau.
my first whoops, 1 second. Oh no,
Uh-oh.
sorry, I ruined the stream. One sec. We're good. Oh no, I have it so mom's big. I don't know how to fix it. We've got quadrants of
Oops.
mom's face in the 4 cameras on the stream right now.
Mother's
Okay, there
Day.
we go. Okay, there we go. We fixed it. Okay, sorry.
What?
It's Mother's
I
Day.
remember, this is a weirdly specific memory I have. I remember being like at a GameStop before Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess came out. And at that point, I guess I was in elementary school. I was probably like 4th grade. And Mom, you were always very into Legend of Zelda. So I remember you like talking to one of the employees about it because they had like a trailer on a TV or something. And like Link turns into a wolf in it. And then there was like also a clip in the trailer of him like holding a hawk. And the guy behind the counter was like, I think what they're doing is they're doing like a Ladyhawke thing. I think they're trying to riff on Ladyhawke. And you were like, oh, no way, I love Ladyhawke. And you were like telling me about Ladyhawke all the way home because of the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess trailer. That's my earliest memory of Ladyhawke.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. Because I
I-
assume you have memories of me just talking about it throughout
Probably,
childhood.
yeah.
I'm gunning for Ladyhawke to be the next big cult following movie. Like
Yeah.
people didn't care about it when it came out, but it has it all. It's got drama.
It's got Matthew Broderick.
It's got weird voiceovers. It's got pink skies. It's like
got
weird music. It has it all.
So,
it has
okay.
all the things that people
Okay,
want.
so this is embarrassing for me because for a second last night I watched like the opening scene. There's like the hooded figure with the hawk, and I was like, wait, is the man the hawk or the woman the hawk? And I was like having this internal conversation, and I was like, wait, Ladyhawke.
Lady.
Oh yeah, that's right, it's the woman.
The lady is
that's
the
lady is the
hawk.
Ladyhawke.
I was like, got confused there for a second.
But, okay, so I'm just going to get out in front of this because we're going to get there eventually. We all got to be the heel sometimes, and I guess it's my turn. Because
Jackson's turn.
you guys are all very excited about this movie, and I think this movie's like a 6 out of 10 if I'm being supremely generous.
Well,
I think
no,
the movie's like
but
so
here's the thing.
boring.
Okay, part of mine was like just nostalgia. And
Right.
and I have to explain to you that my generation, like when you watched a movie, it was you didn't watch it again. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I mean you sometimes you did if you went and rented it, but like watching a movie was a whole thing in and of itself.
Right.
And so it's like you have this memory or this attachment of like
Right.
I remember like watching it with like our youth group, you know, like I don't know, some adult like thought it was a great movie, and so I just remember watching it with my friends, and then just thinking my memory of it was that it was like so romantic and like so powerful,
Right.
you know, and it's like this
Mhm.
emotional thing and like their deep love for each other, and then then when I watch it like later, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
because
what
the
was
thing
I
about this
even-
movie is that how could they have any chemistry when the whole premise of the movie is that they can never appear on screen together? These two actors you like so much.
Yeah, there's no
You just have to
chemistry, like,
believe
between the
it.
actors.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just have to believe Rucker Hauer when he says
Because-
that he loves her. You're like, I
Yeah.
guess.
Because
like,
of they
Well,
tell
that's the
you.
whole story, right? They
I
told
mean, yeah.
the story about their love and that Mr. Evil priest
The
guy
bishop.
Bishop,
Quasimodo's dad.
was so jealous.
Or
That's-
Frollo.
Their love
This-
was so powerful.
This movie is spectacularly good at explaining things and never showing them. Like every
Yeah.
single thing you learn in the plot is explained to you, nothing is shown. Like actually
Right.
nothing. Even the fact that she's a lady that turns into a hawk is spoken, and you see it later, but they're like,
Yeah.
how can we introduce this concept?
They tell you first. Yeah.
Matthew Broderick prays to Jesus and explains it to God, and that's how we're gonna tell you.
Says it out loud.
He prays like 70% of the dialogue.
Okay, but that's one of the best things about the movie. Is
I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
think so, too.
it's true.
It's Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
If you just want to watch it and appreciate Matthew Broderick and his hilarious conversations with God, that's the best part.
I was gonna say those were all the best like little jokes, like the one where he's like he tells the guy the truth, thinking that he will think it's a lie, but then he sees through it and does it anyway, and then he has this little he like talks to God afterwards. He's like, "How am I supposed to learn a lesson here? You keep confusing me. Like I was telling the truth. What do you want from me?"
Tell the truth that time.
At the beginning, when he's like escaping out of the sewers and he like sees something he thinks is gonna kill him, he's like, God, listen, I'm gonna level with you.
I'm gonna change
if you
my
let
ways.
me live, I'm gonna be so honest. I swear. But if you let me die right here, how can I prove it to you? No hard feelings if you do let me die, but I'm gonna be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Like that's just
so
funny.
good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be angry about it. I'm just gonna be disappointed.
And then he immediately goes and like steals a bunch of stuff, like steals a knife.
Yeah, and
Steals
then
from children.
That doesn't surprise you, God. You knew I have a will. Or whatever. Like, you knew this was gonna happen.
I love that little girl who's like, he's stealing daddy's shoes. And he's like, yep, bye.
Look at that.
That
Dude, she's...
Okay, why was that couple in the forest? Like, if you watch that woman, the way she was, like,
she's like
acting,
running around.
Yeah, that was very strange.
I was
It was a weird choice.
It was interesting to me, just in terms of the Matthew Broderick of it all. First of all, I think the poster that you can see on the stream right now is very funny because it absolutely looks like Matthew Broderick is just wearing a hoodie. Like, it's like his old medieval garb.
It looks like his school picture.
Yeah, it really does. So for a long time,
I thought
this movie...
looks like she's like wearing a hat too. It's a weird picture.
Yeah, for a long time, I thought this movie was like set in the modern day because of this poster. It looks like he's just wearing like a zip-up hoodie. Yeah, he's like
Ladyhawke.
The modern day equivalent of the knight on the horse with the hawk, Jackson.
The score would make more sense.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I was surprised to find out that this movie came out before Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Because, like, making a story like this where the character is, like, you know, has this, like, running internal monologue feels like the kind of thing that is, like, something that happens to you a lot more after Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you know? It's
I feel like but it made me think that they saw this. I don't know if it was ad-libbing or they wrote it for him, but like his style of doing this dialogue. I feel like they wrote Ferris Bueller because... like in reaction to his performance on this. Yeah, and like, oh my gosh, we could write a whole story about this kid.
Right, yeah.
What if he was a teen?
It's interesting because like so often like if an actor like really has a thing, usually the thing that they're best known for happens first. And then everybody else kind of tries to like get him to do that again. I think of Ryan Reynolds in this way all the time. Like post Deadpool, this is the only thing Ryan Reynolds knows how to do anymore. He knows how to be like self-referential and meta and like monologue out loud. And like every single one of his movies that he's done since Deadpool is like riffing on Deadpool in some kind of weird way. And like, that's what I just sort of assumed was going on here, but it turns out it's like the opposite. It's like he did something kinda and pretty good until it like escalated. It's just not sort of the thing you usually see.
Thank you, Ladyhawke, for Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Correct line.
I was about to say, I was just thinking about Matthew Broderick because he's so dreamy, because he is adorable in this movie. But I was just like, I was really stupid. I was like, is that Ferris Bueller? And of course, it's obviously Ferris Bueller. It's obviously Matthew Broderick. But so I was just like looking through his movies, and like he's been in so much stuff, and so much of it is like so good, and he's good in. The one piece that like I still don't quite understand, I don't get the Music Man. I still don't get that one.
He's a musical theater guy. He's always been a musical theater guy.
He is a musical theater guy, but it's just like, I don't know.
What
Like
year
he's
was
got like
that?
the roguish charm, but like just like I don't know, he just doesn't fit. It's weird.
year
It was a
was
weird
that, Adeline?
choice.
The music.
Adeline,
What?
what year was that?
2003.
Music Man. I don't even know.
He's
I'm
a
looking at
what?
it
He's
right
a
now.
what? He's a music man with
He's
a
a
big brass
music
bass,
man.
big brass bass, and a
And then the rest of us make sounds on the train.
I like 1.5 songs in the Music Man.
Oh,
And
man.
I
then-
really like the Music Man. I think I just have Stockholm syndrome because we did it in high
That's-
school, so I
yeah,
had to
that's
listen to it all
fair.
the time. But like, I enjoy Music Man, and we watched
Shakuchi.
we watched his version of it. We watched the movie like in my theater class in high school, and like it's good because it's the Music Man. But the whole time it was just like, there's Matthew Broderick, there's Ferris Bueller. He's having so much fun. Look at him go.
Can I tell you a shocking trivia fact about the 2003 Music Man that I've just stumbled upon?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you want to guess you probably know all too well, Adeline. Do you want to guess the runtime of that 2003 Music Man movie?
Probably a very long time.
2 hours and 35 minutes long. How
I
could you
know.
possibly
2.5
stand
hours.
that?
Because there's a lot to shapoopy and
It's because you're just watching Matthew Broderick have a
Take a
fun
little, talk a
time
little.
reliving high school theater. He's just having a ball.
cheap, talk a lot, pick a little more, something like that.
I have seen the Music Man a couple of times. I might have
Mm-hmm.
just completely blocked it out. That sounds awful.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, pick a lot, pick a little more.
Why? Okay, yeah, sure.
That's
I
like a
guess.
one
It's a
thing
lot of
that they do,
nonsense.
yeah.
It's a lot of nonsense.
Do we have to watch every movie that Matthew Broderick was in now?
No.
Yes.
Last time we
Is this
Lion
a
said
Matthew
King.
Broderick
that
stan
And
account?
put them in order.
we wanted to do Dave Bautista, but we don't have Army of the Dead on
Yeah.
our schedule right now. Even though I'd like to do it, I don't know. But
We still haven't done RoboCop, so.
that's true. I mean,
Oh.
there's a lot of movies we got to get around to, and we keep having
Yeah,
all
yeah,
these
yeah.
new movies we get excited about. Anyway,
What
That's
happens if
true.
you run out of movies, Jackson?
right. Well, we're spending 3 out of 4 weeks every month doing brand new movies most of the time anyway, so we're having a harder time.
So
getting
yeah,
to the
there's a
movies
lot
we
of
wanna do.
backlog.
We've been talking about doing the Matrix movies for like a year at this point. We just like try to find
Yeah.
a place to fit it in.
Put them in.
I
One
am so
day.
tired when like when you haven't seen a movie or you don't know a movie and someone's like, you've never seen that movie. It's like, do you know how freaking movies there are in the world? There's so many, and everyone expects you to know all of them, and it's just that would be
much pressure.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's
So-
too much pressure.
Back on Ladyhawke. Keisha, here's my main criticism with the movie. I'm
Mhm.
directing this at you so you can
Mhm.
defend yourself. Because
I will, I'm ready. Go ahead.
The script has no dynamics to it. Like, you set up the premise, it's like, oh, there's a kid, he meets this weird couple, they have this thing going on. They're going back to the big town to go and fight the priest, but there's a bunch of guys who want to come get him. And that's the whole movie.
You mean the
Like,
plot?
Yeah, like, there are no, like reversals, like, the status
No.
quo doesn't change at any point. It's like, they're going to this place, and some guys show up, and they're like, oh, and then they fight the guys, and they get away, and then they're like, well, time to keep going to that place, and they talk, and they get to know each other.
And I
but,
also
like,
got kind of confused with like the traveling, like how freaking far were they going
Right.
away, and then having to go back through the snow.
right.
to
Yeah,
the
like,
city.
it doesn't feel like there are any, like, reversals or, like, twists or, like, subversions of your expectations or, like, they're just, like, going. And then they do, and then they get there. And that's, like, 90% of the movie. And you're like,
Yes.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
But maybe you weren't sure if the priest was telling the truth, Jackson. I
Yeah.
mean, like maybe he wasn't.
It's like
Maybe there wasn't going
He
to be
told
an eclipse
you, so
that nobody ever had heard of before in
Right.
all history.
here's
Oh,
how
God.
if I may approach the bench.
You may.
Here's how I watched this movie, because I've probably seen this movie at least 20 times. Just how I operated as a child. I just watched this movie a lot. But this time watching it with critical eyes, I still love it because
Yeah, but that's you.
because I have a piece of my heart that is Ladyhawke shaped.
Yeah.
However, this movie, it feels like 2 out of 5, and that's being generous. Like 2 out of 5 facts or like pieces of dialogue just never made it into the script. Where it's
Right.
They
it's
just cut
like
it
there's
all
a
out.
lot of inferring that you have to do to
Right.
make the movie work,
Yeah.
and that's bad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not. It's very much like if someone did the Princess Bride, but they were like,
They
let's
just cut
just
out.
take out the parts that move the story forward, and we just
Yeah.
have isolated scenes.
Right.
I just keep the part where everybody's just like hanging out and being friends.
Just keep
Yeah,
the part where
and, like,
Matthew's talking.
Because there isn't the motivation at first is like, I'm gonna get out of jail. Fair enough, because you're gonna get executed. And then he like stumbles upon the Nevers, whatever, the Captain
Right.
Nevers, and they're like
but they kind of-
expositing while they fight.
But they
Right.
kind of insinuated that he was looking, like he knew who he was, because he was looking for someone who could get him in the city.
Oh.
And he'd heard
Like
that,
more or less.
like,
Kind of.
they hinted that that was a thing. But yeah, how did he find him in that weird marketplace
Right. And I
with
think
the outside
Find him
bar?
immediately. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't want my position to be like, what's with all these scenes that don't do anything? We gotta be moving all the time. There's gotta be twists and turns. Because, like, obviously, like, scenes that are just there for, like, character development and, like, filling out a world are, like, super important and great for a movie that, like, feels good and well-rounded, you know? But
Mhm.
I think that it has to be in
I need to check.
what's the word I'm looking for? It has to be, like, in... I'm losing my mind right now. It has to
Like,
be
it has
next
to be-
to...
Embedded.
yeah.
embedded within, like, things that make sense and other things. If your whole movie is just like, here's these characters kind of riffing on each other, and the characters aren't really that good in the first place,
And they don't talk much.
and they don't talk much, yeah, and, like,
Mhm.
the entire motivation for them, like, being together in the first place and staying together is that one of them just keeps telling the other one he's gonna kill him if he leaves.
Mhm.
It's like, no, I don't think I really am, like, invested in this relationship.
Yeah.
This dynamic doesn't feel super fun to me.
And they have this like deep, deep love, and then at the end he's like, I'm gonna go kill this guy, but if I die, kill
Right.
Like,
The
what?
monk is like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think that's what she would want. And he's like, no,
Yes,
it's what
he
she
did.
would want. And it's
No,
like,
no,
she's
she can't speak.
She wouldn't
gonna
want
be
to live without me. She wouldn't want to live without me. I murder her.
Yeah.
like she's gonna be a human in like a
Right.
few hours. Can I at least ask her? If, like that's
Yeah.
cool.
Seems
Can I,
something
like,
would
wait
check
1 minute?
on.
Right.
Yeah. No, I genuinely believe that the last part of this movie is probably the weakest part of the whole movie. Like, even when we're wandering around, like, the dismount sucks. Like,
Right.
we did all the pieces we're getting here. Like, even the way we get here, it's like, oh, is there going to be eclipse? Is killing them going to do anything? But, like, we do all the things. We have a fun fight with bad fight choreography.
So
We have a
bad.
fun fight.
Why is
I
fighting
love the
so
horses, though.
bad?
I liked when that horse, like, fell on its
They
butt.
clip-
That
he
was
clip
fun.
clops.
No, I was worried about that horse. This is
I
the
was really
80s.
worried
That horse
about
is
the
dead.
And then the next scene,
They
he
killed
just got
that
back
horse,
up on
Jackson.
him.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like they do all the things that they need to do. Like, they get it, they get there, and like, oh, they're both in the same room and the eclipse is happening, and the monk is just like, it worked! And we're like,
What
nothing
worked?
happened. What worked? And they're like, we did it! And they're like crying, and then like all the people who are in the church are just like, there.
They just stood there.
Still.
the
Yeah.
entire
And they
time.
don't know what's going on. I don't think anybody else
Who are
knows what's
these
going on.
people?
And he just like picks her up and she's like, I love you. And then they're just like in the church, like that's their house now. And then they leave for some reason. Like,
Right.
No, there's
and the
a
ending
bad
scene
happy
of the
family
movie
now.
sucks.
They got
But
the
no, they
grandpa,
leave.
They're gonna adopt the kid, and they're all a happy
Mhm.
family.
I
They
also
There we
chose to make it non-dynamic. Like they could have
Right.
had breaking
Mhm.
the curses. Like they have to smooch and slay a dragon all during
Right.
the eclipse.
Just like have
But they're like-
anything happen visually at all.
But they said maybe it's just that the bishop has to like see them together. She's just there.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Look at her. Look at her.
He's like,
Like
Look
that's
at us.
and
He's
that's
like-
really
He's
funny
like,
to
fine,
me.
I will.
Because,
But
yeah,
I
he
think
doesn't,
about-
like, make him. He just yells at him enough until he's like, okay, fine, God. Like,
Well, like they see each other for the first time, and I like waited for them to like embrace, but they kept like stopping and like having these conversations and doing
Right.
these other
Yeah.
things, and then
And then she
finally,
like
they like touch each other. I'm like, what are you doing?
yeah, and then she like drops the little hawk mask in front of the bishop, and it's like, oh, I thought she was gonna stab him, and that's what I wanted.
I
Then she
looked away
didn't.
and I lost what that was. I thought it was like her tethers or
It
something.
was like
Yeah,
it
was
was
her
like
hawk
the little
feathers.
hat and the hawk
oh, the little
feathers.
hood. I see
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she
And
said,
she was like,
I'm not bird anymore, idiot.
Look at this.
Idiot.
This is proof I'm not a bird.
I don't need these anymore.
Look, these don't even
they don't
fit.
fit.
They don't fit. Look. Doesn't work. Doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Oh, I don't need blinders anymore because I don't get spooked by big noises anymore because I'm
I
not a bird.
You put a blanket over me, I would fall asleep.
Look at this.
The best
Throw some seeds on the ground. I don't even want them. Don't even want them. Don't even want to eat them.
The best part about this movie is that like when they are a bird or a wolf, they are those like they don't have their brains
right.
anymore.
There's no
Like, they-
like, except when the hawk went to Matthew and well, no, what's his name? The mouse.
Mouse.
Remember when
Mouse.
he got
Philippe,
Philippe instead of Navarre?
Gaston,
And he was
like,
what'd
that's-
you do with my wife in the
Philippe
bar?
Gaston.
Philippe. Yeah,
It was
it's
awkward.
woo.
I think
It's fine, I guess, but I think it's funny.
this movie is kind of a tremendous misuse of Michelle Pfeiffer. Because
Oh,
like,
100%.
Oh yeah.
one of the things that's great about Michelle Pfeiffer is that she's
Is
just
there?
got like so much face. Like she has like a supremely distinct face. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it like a lot of the movies I like know her from are from a little bit later, and maybe she just hadn't quite grown into having that much face yet in 1985, but like I would like maybe not necessarily realize it's Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie, because like what's so great about Michelle Pfeiffer is that she's also like kind of a character actor too. Like she became like one of the most successful like leading ladies of the 20th century, but like
Ladies of the 80s.
But like she has like a really distinct like acting style and a really sort of broad, interesting acting style, at least from what I know her
what
from.
do you think of as her being a great role that she's done? Like what?
I mean, I think of Batman Returns.
'Cause
I think of What Lies Beneath. I think of maybe it's just those two things. I'm trying to remember. Hold on.
This is like it's very much a product of the 80s though, in which you could be a good actress or you could be a pretty actress,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do
Right.
both. And like they're like, oh, we just want you to sit in this
I feel
room
like hers
and
was like a look, but
yeah,
she
which is like just under like the same thing happened to like Robin Wright in The Princess Bride, where she
Right.
just looked pretty, and she's obviously has the chops to
yeah,
be an actress.
Yeah.
But
Movie,
she's
yeah.
she was a pretty face then, and
Exactly.
you would sit on a horse, look out the window, and
Yep.
be sad.
It's maybe what I'm trying
Trying to
get
kill
at,
yourself like 4 times.
because like a lot of what I actually like think of when I think of Michelle Pfeiffer is like her more recent work when she's like older. So I'm trying to think of like the era when she was like a young leading lady. And I guess like truly I think that's just it. I think it's like Batman Returns and What Lies Beneath. But,
yeah. It's like all I can think of too.
And she's in
I'm a product of that era.
the Prince of Egypt.
right.
Oh,
Nah.
really?
Is great.
But I guess I just mean like I feel like those movies like let Michelle Pfeiffer look like Michelle Pfeiffer. And like this movie, they don't know that Michelle Pfeiffer is like an important commodity yet.
They don't know yet.
Yeah, exactly. So it feels like she's like made up in a very regular, very normal way. They're not like trying to like,
Yeah.
you know, make
Well-
her look like she does.
Except
Her
in that
makeup and
poster,
her
she's got, like
hair.
lipstick on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, her makeup and her hair like just takes me out of it so much. Like she
Mhm.
doesn't fit in the world at all. Like I know that there's a lot of like short medieval hairstyles on women. We've all seen Ted and Bill and Ted go back in time and hang out with what's her face, and she's got the
Right,
short
right.
haircut. Anyway, but like we know
Yeah,
there's like
but-
short medieval haircuts, and we've seen it like in that time era. But the fact that she's got like this just supremely 80s hairstyle,
Yeah.
and she's got like the super thin eyebrows, and she's like all airbrushed and like pretty with like
Right.
lipstick and stuff. Like she just
Yeah.
like doesn't fit into the world at
I don't
all,
feel
even a
like
little
she had
bit.
A lot of makeup on. I mean, she probably did, but you know what I mean. Like she
Mhm.
wasn't
Yeah.
made up. but it was definitely like that soft lighting and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She's
she, like,
she just looks
fuzzy.
like airbrushed. Yeah.
Yeah, and she doesn't like get to make a meal out of anything. That's what I like the most about Michelle Pfeiffer. She likes to make a meal out of it. And this movie, she's just like, oh wow.
Yeah, she's snacking.
And you're like,
Except for
light
that
snack.
part. Except for that part at the very end where he picks her up and she just goes, I love
Right.
you
That's
for
good
no
stuff.
reason. That's the one.
Because they haven't been able to embrace each other for who knows how long, Adeline. They've been
And that's
separated for
how
ages.
long
Together,
I'm
but
just
separated.
saying.
I mean, let's just say, I'm a person who was in a long distance relationship for 5 years of my life, and this didn't do anything for me.
Jackson!
Yeah.
Jackson! They couldn't communicate with each other.
Not relatable content.
Jackson, it's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same though.
Uh,
Because you were never a bird at the time that she was a human. And she wasn't
Sometimes
a
you
wolf
don't have
when you were
Wi-Fi,
human.
Keisha.
well,
They
remember
couldn't-
that awesome scene where like they change and they like
you get to
for
like
a,
see.
for
Oh,
a
he
moment,
goes,
and then there's like this
so
big furry thing laying there, and then it fuzzes out, and then there's like a man laying there. It was amazing. And then there was feathers.
he's like, you need to tell exactly what she said, and I'm gonna know if you're lying because I know how she speaks. That's intense.
Yeah,
That's intense.
yeah.
That's drama. Here's the
can
thing
we-
about the movie is that there's such a good skeleton here. Like that, it's
absolutely,
it's
yeah.
such an interesting concept. Like I think that it would be worth retinkering and redoing at some point
Right.
down the line.
Maybe.
Because
Maybe you do it
it's
in a
cool.
video game. Call it Twilight Princess.
Twilight, or maybe you do it in a movie setting,
Jackson.
and you just actually like show the things that they talk about because there's some really
Yeah,
interesting things.
Because I was trying to think about like what would have added. Like now looking at it, I don't get the emotional connection at all. And like what would
Sorry,
have
Keisha.
No, Michelle Pfeiffer has so much more like connection and chemistry with Matthew Broderick because they actually
Oh.
interact.
Oh,
with each
yeah.
other.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure, for sure.
So here's something
But I
I
still
learned.
buy into it. I buy into the love story.
Here's something I learned while I was looking at the Wikipedia page for this movie. Apparently, the reason that Rutger Hauer was the other lead in this movie, who is, this is before Blade Runner. This is sort of like he's like not a big name yet in a movie filled with big names. The reason it was him was because Kurt Russell dropped out. And let me tell you, Kurt Russell in this movie sounds bad. That sounds like the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
So handsome though.
Kurt Russell has to be like snarky and funny. I don't think I could take
That's
him
fair.
seriously. He's got like a little bit of archness to him in everything. And I don't think if he were
Fair.
like
No,
delivering those really serious lines, I'd be like, you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop with Kurt Russell, I feel like.
you're joking, right?
Yeah.
Breakout role. Like when Chris
That's
Evans stopped being meatheads,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Okay, so
True.
what year was this? This would have been like Kurt
This was
Russell.
85.
Like,
This is 85.
Overboard.
Yeah.
Wait, when did Overboard happen?
I thought Overboard was like
I think
early
87. I'm gonna guess 87.
Let's see.
I think it's 83.
80s. Let's see. I'm gonna sort by most
Vote now.
recent.
Vote now. Live.
87. 87. How did you know that?
I just know. I just know the years that movies happen for some reason.
Okay, so The Thing was 82. Big Trouble in Little China was 86.
Yeah.
Let's
When
see.
is Little Trouble in Big China coming out?
Good one. So yeah, I mean, he's in Swing Shift. He's in what's it called? Escape from New York. He's in The Fox and the Hound. And then he would have gone on to
Fox
Ladyhawke.
and the Hound is great.
Yeah.
Oh, he is in that, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we watch all the time when actors have a chance, they surprise us.
Right.
Switching from like a comedic role to a more serious role. But I don't know. I don't know if he could have done it.
I think it's not necessarily a
Yeah.
matter of talent. It's not that I think that actors. It's one of these like film theory things that you like sort of get an eye for when you think about it a lot, which is just that like actors when they become celebrities trade on an image. And like there are some actors that like no matter what you are actually doing, like the baggage that comes with you just as an idea will never not be part of your performance.
Is your audience going to buy it? Is
Right,
the audience
yeah.
going to buy this character?
Yeah, exactly. Which is like exactly what we're talking about with like Matthew Broderick or like Ryan Reynolds from earlier. You know, they have like a shtick, they have like a thing, they have like an attitude that they've sort of cultivated. And if you throw Matthew Broderick in a like really serious, like really straightforward role, you kind of expect him to have a little bit of bite, a little bit of like sass in him, you know? And if he like really and truly doesn't, unless he's like doing something really incredible, like it feels like it's missing, and it feels like feels like you've been tricked out of something. I don't know.
Okay, wait, back to my point though.
Okay.
In that how there's like they really just don't do anything in this movie.
No.
But they could have done so much. Like the bishop makes a deal with the devil because he's so jealous of this love that we never see.
Show me that part.
Show that, like, do a little Beauty and the Beast intro action or something. Like, do a cold open of the horrific. I understand that there are technologies that weren't invented yet, but just like show a shadow of her contorting into a bird and then him into from a wolf to a man or something.
That guy playing that bishop
so bad. Like it can only be done now.
that guy playing the bishop gives such an like understated performance in that role, and it's like, why aren't you just going crazy right now? Like this should be like the most over the top crazy performance in this movie, and he's just like,
come on, and it's not. It's not even like Frollo like hiding like an insanity and a sinfulness. So like you start to see the facade crack and he like goes crazy later. It's not even that. He's just kind of like always boring.
Yeah, he's just like a boring guy.
Frollo,
boring, evil guy.
It's so and every man in this movie was so in love with her. This Isabeau, the Ladyhawke, Isabeau.
And we're not sure why, except she was beautiful.
Because she's so pretty.
Right.
Because she's so beautiful. But we never see them fall in love. The priest is just like, I accidentally was so drunk and also maybe in love. I told the bishop, and the bishop was pissed because he was also
Daisy.
So in love. And so
I don't even remember. I was so drunk. I don't know what I was doing.
like all of that stuff is so interesting. Like that's a crazy movie. And, like maybe it's not the budget, but like an American Werewolf in London that existed around the same time, right?
In London, Werewolf in America,
and the thing, there is the capabilities of doing special effects that exist and are good, and you can see that aren't like slow fade images. I still love that scene, but I'm saying maybe the rest of the movie could have also been at least interesting, and that scene also could have been half the length that it is.
I just want to point out this little interaction in the chat right now where Elsie says Kurt Russell is in Fox and the Hound, and Dylan says, yeah, he was the fox and or the hound.
Yeah, I know.
My name's Copper.
He's
I'm a hound dog. I think he's probably the fox, is my guess.
I don't think I've ever seen
Kezia, you think about Winnie the Pooh when you cry, but you don't think about Fox and the Hound and cry.
I do. I just didn't watch The Fox and the Hound as much as I watched Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
Because there's also Winnie the Pooh. There's the Tigger movie. There's Piglet's Big movie. There's the Piglet movie and Piglet's Big Move or something like that. There's multiple. And there's Winnie the Pooh. There's the one where Christopher Robin goes to school, and that's a whole deal.
There was like a recent one that was like the last hand-drawn animated movie Disney came out with.
The Heffalump movie?
Yeah, where we have our friend who's a Heffalump.
Was that it? The one from like 2013 or whatever?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay.
Because we had a new person like join the Winnie the Pooh gang, and he was a little Heffalump elephant guy. He was like, I'm just a baby.
Is that the one where Tom Kenny's the rabbit?
Yes.
Maybe.
You don't know? You don't know?
I don't.
No, I didn't even know Tom Kenny was the rabbit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just laughing earlier, Keisha, because Ozzy stood up and just was like slowly approaching the camera.
Well, he's sitting on the bed, like at the very end now. Ta-da!
Facing the other direction.
Yeah, he just I
Facing the
don't know.
wall.
He probably wants dinner, but
So let's talk about
Gonna
this
starve him.
Alan Parsons Project soundtrack on this movie. Because like the opening credits of this movie are like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
They're really funny.
chef's kiss. That's my French kiss for the evening.
Right.
Is for the opening credits.
The opening
Right.
scene.
It's like
It's really
because
good.
okay, so apparently, according to Wikipedia, the story is that Richard Donner was just listening to a lot of Alan Parsons Project cassettes while he was like location scouting for this movie. So every time he looked at one of these like castles, he had like Alan Parsons Project jam band music in his ears the whole time, and he was just like, "We should get this guy to do the music."
This is good.
These two things go together,
Yeah, they
I've
just
decided.
So this whole movie has this weird like Euro tech like electronic like funk jam band rock soundtrack.
It's so good though.
It's so funny.
It's so funny because at first, like, the sun is rising, and thematically you don't know what that means yet, but
Yeah.
I know what it meant
Right,
because
Ooh, the sun.
and you're like, ooh, like a cool fantasy adventure, and then it's like, and then just hawk faces. It's
Yeah.
just the hawk
Yeah.
shows up
And they
over
keep
and
like
over
cutting in
again.
like a hawk like taking flight dramatically. It's so good.
It's like the opening of the labyrinth, but like less mysterious and
Right.
cool.
it's so
you're like,
weird.
I guess.
And it's so weird how like it just makes you think about how far movies have come. Because like there are like movies from this period that like hold up like really supremely well. Like just visually and scripturally. And,
Scripturally.
scripturally. And like I think of like Princess Bride. That was like around the same time. It's dealing with
Yeah.
a lot of the same
Yeah.
aesthetics. And that movie like looks great. And you don't even necessarily like feel it feels like really timeless.
Like
you know?
Princess Bride is timeless.
Yeah.
This movie is
Absolutely.
not
It's like not
timeless.
at all timeless. Like the whole
No.
movie looks weird. There's something about the way it's like blocked and edited that just feels wrong. And like everything's
Mhm.
filmed in this like weird day for night. And you can like tell because the fire
Yeah.
doesn't illuminate anything.
Oh yeah, I thought the same thing when I
Yeah.
was watching it because I was like, well, half this movie's supposed to be at night and half's supposed to be in the day. But then I like, oh, I thought that was day, but wait, that can't be
Yeah.
day. That has to be night.
Right.
Yeah, that was
And
weird.
you can tell because that's something that I don't think they really do it anymore because most of the time it looks like this and you're like, what's up with that? But like you can
Mhm.
shoot day for night if you need to. You can like treat the film and like adjust the lighting and the like color
make it
temperature and
darker.
stuff to like make it more blue.
Get some black
and make
Kool-Aid,
it-
put the film in that.
Yeah, you can like trick people into thinking it's like this is nighttime, but it's not. And like one
Yeah.
of the great ways to like look at it is like when you look at the fire in all these like nighttime scenes, it's not like lighting anything up. Like
Yeah.
the fire is just like a little red object and it looks super weird.
Mhm.
It's like
And just
Yeah.
the sky is blue the whole time. You're
Right,
Like, I
yeah.
guess it's
Yeah.
night. I guess.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just kind of
Was it-
just
was
looks
it-
cloudy, but
Was it Some Like It Hot that did that for the very first time, or was it just a good example of it?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, Some Like It Hot, they do that effect at one point. They're like, I think it's like the last scene in that movie where they're like running away on the beach or something, but there's just a shot of Marilyn Monroe like running like on a beach into a dock to like talk to somebody, and it's like high noon, beautiful bright sun, blue sky, but they've just like made it like a little bit darker, but Marilyn Monroe has just like this giant shadow behind her as she's like running. It's just like Day for Night has never looked good, and
Right.
it's just something we keep trying to do because it's a good idea. It
Yeah.
just doesn't
Mhm.
work.
Oh,
like a movie that feels like it's from the era it's from, though. I think there's
Right,
a case
right.
for like movies that aren't necessarily timeless. Like
Yeah.
I love RoboCop. RoboCop is not
Right.
a timeless movie.
No, yeah, RoboCop
No.
feels like it's from
It's-
1987.
In several ways.
And it's supposed to. Like it's like a reflection on Reagan
Right.
era America. Like that's the point. This
Uh-huh.
movie, I don't know if there is a point to it. I don't know if the point is true love and also maybe telling the truth.
Right.
There's not a genre. It's like maybe comedy, maybe drama, maybe, but it's not really that funny and it's not really that serious. and it's
There are
not
three-
scary.
There are three
and it's
people and they do
And
stuff.
nothing happens.
You can't
It's
call
like
it a
ma-
romance because the two people
So-
aren't ever there together. So
Jackson, the music thing kind of reminded me. I mean, it's done well sometimes where you put modern music into like a period piece,
right.
Like, but this
I mean,
is,
like Knight's Tale.
like Knight's Tale is what I was gonna bring up because
Yeah.
that's a good movie.
That's
Her second favorite movie.
But this music in this one just felt distracting. Like
yeah.
when it would, I don't know. It just was like somebody had a good idea, but then,
Yeah,
Alan
I
Parker-
mean,
Just
yeah,
like
it's hard to
didn't prep
pin
anything
down.
for it.
Yeah, it's hard to pin down exactly why. I think there is a case to be made that like it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it would have felt at the time. I think the music would just feel silly regardless of the
Yeah, no
context
matter.
right now. So that just makes it feel silly in this movie.
But watching it in the 80s, I don't remember thinking
Right.
that the music was weird. I bought it. I bought it. It was an awesome
Yeah.
movie. What did I know?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, you think of like the Baz Luhrmann Great Gatsby, and it's like there was a part of me that was thinking like,
Yeah.
well, if it's like maybe if it like is so modern, it like feels dated, but like later when that thing that was modern becomes itself dated,
Yeah.
you know. But like,
Mhm.
I think Great Gatsby really holds up, even though it's like Jay-Z, you know, like
But I think it's also the
Yeah,
way
it's
they
like Taylor Swift.
It's also the way they use music. And in this movie, it just had these weird, like really loud, like all of a sudden the music would like kind of take over for
Right,
no
yeah.
apparent reason.
Yeah, it wasn't there to like elevate the like emotions of a scene, but like because what's so great about the Great Gatsby is that when we hear 20s music, we think old-fashioned music and we don't think about like what it really represented at the time, like because it was like a
Yeah.
new thing that was like breaking boundaries. It was like new and cool, but we just don't hear it that way anymore. So like using modern music to basically
Yeah, that was
do
like,
what the
so
music at the time would have been doing is really smart and
Right.
a really good decision. But this movie isn't.
cutting edge.
First of all, it's not the same at all because it's not needle drops. They're not playing a song. They're just songs that sound like the 80s. It's just what the music is like. And yeah, it's not elevating anything. If anything, it's replacing anything else that was going on in the scene, you know?
Right, yeah. I think
It's like, this is time. Now it's time for music.
I was thinking a lot about Sleepless in Seattle while I was watching this movie. Because that's like another movie that's like ostensibly a romance where like the leads like don't like meet actually until like the very end.
Oh, that's
And,
true.
Like I think that like Sleepless in Seattle's not my favorite movie, but like obviously that movie does it a lot better, I think. And like it's I don't know, the only thing I can come down to, I want to like pinpoint it on a reason. I want to like say something smart that's just like, well, Sleepless in Seattle does it this way and Ladyhawke does it this way, but I just think that Sleepless in Seattle, just the rest of the movie besides that is good.
Yeah.
And that's just
Yeah.
not true in this one.
Well,
Like,
you cared about the people
Exactly.
as individuals. Like you built
Yeah.
a relationship with them and you understood they were well-rounded.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, they'd go good together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reason outside of they love each other.
Yeah, it's
that,
like
like,
an
they get
actual
together.
Yeah.
character-based,
Reason.
not necessarily romance, because in Sleepless in Seattle, they literally don't know each other. So it's like really like not a romance per se, but you still care about these characters and you sort of like have a feel for where things are going and you like want them to meet, but that's not the most important thing in the story. The most important thing in the story is that the characters are interesting and you're invested in them.
Yeah.
And you want to know more and you want to see what's going to happen to them. In this movie, I mean, like I said, the only reason any of them are even hanging out with each other is because one of them keeps telling him he's going to kill Matthew Broderick. And he's like, well, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll hang out.
But
It's
he
such a
changed his
monologue.
mind after he saw the scratches on his chest.
Right,
and he
right.
realized.
But it's such a monologue heavy movie.
Yeah.
There's so many monologues. Like, there's a monologue about why there's a gem missing on his sword.
Yeah, he doesn't ever
Which
get that
doesn't ever-
gem, does he?
Oh,
Doesn't
what
come,
does
it
that have
never
to do
comes
with
back into
anything?
play. Never does anything. But like,
And why did he need the sword at the end? He had a sword. Why did he need another sword?
the sword doesn't matter. It's,
No, he
Yeah.
doesn't
Use
even-
it. It's
Oh.
weird.
He's
but like, why can't you spare a
saved it.
monologue?
Like saved it, like hid it from him, and then showed up with it.
Yeah, just
The
like
bottom of the lake, or was he lying? I kind of dipped out a little bit.
but like have spare
He
2
said it
minutes
fell on the lake.
of the Ladyhawke talking about a story in which they were in love together,
Right.
and then have him tell another story. That's like 4 minutes of movie.
Yeah.
That's not long. They could have done it. And then you're like, oh yeah, I can see why they'd fall in love with each other.
And it would be kind of funny because they would have been telling the story, and like you could have like cut back and
Right.
forth, like his reaction to their love story, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might even be fun to have it be like Rucker Hauer's like, oh, there was this one time this and this happened, and I totally like saved her from these ruffians or whatever, and then you could like cut back to Michelle Pfeiffer being like, that's not what happened. And,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
have them like be kind of ribbing each
That's
other and
classic.
like have some kind of rapport, like even though they're not in the same room,
Passing messages back and forth.
Yeah.
Remember that time you?
They didn't use Matthew Badrick as much as they could have.
Yeah.
But it was more important to talk about the sword that
right.
did nothing.
Why there's a jewel missing in that sword.
And why we're never gonna put one in there.
It wasn't even like a magic sword. The sword could have had something to do with the prophecy or the breaking of the whatever. Like
you had to kill
the curse.
The bishop with the sword, the family sword.
It's like they put the gun on the mantle and then forgot to put the gun back on the mantle.
They just forgot about it.
And they forgot about the gun. And then during the credits, they were like, oh, dang it, we left that gun over there.
How about that mercenary that was in the movie for like 30 seconds? Like,
I mean, there are like 4 sequences that are just like, here are some more guys that are going to try to get him. And
no, that one
his
big
name
guy
Caesar.
With the big eyebrows and the trapper.
The wolf trapper.
Oh, yes! Oh,
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer just murders him.
Okay, but she said it wasn't an accident.
No, she pushes him into a bear trap. Pushes his head into a bear trap.
I was having a hard time remembering, but now I do.
She thought
she was all scared in the woods and like creeping around and all the snapping.
Yeah.
But then I wasn't sure. Like I like blinked or something, and then he was in a trap. I wasn't sure if she did it or if it was like an accident.
The bishop hires a huntsman who kills many wolves, and also implies that because of the plague, there are like way too many wolves. I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I can't find this
man has a job.
Also, when she walks out of the hut and sees the hides on the horse, so she starts screaming, like screaming.
She thought it was her love.
A lot of screaming. Yeah. There wasn't even
so that's why she murdered him.
It wasn't even.
She's got the highest kill count.
Yeah, she does.
What's the right
Ladyhawke kill count 1.
What?
As a human.
Well, I was gonna complain
a lot of people die.
I try to care.
I was gonna complain that it annoyed me that like the hawk was like totally helpless all the time. Like they both got shot with an arrow, right?
She gets shot with an arrow, but he almost gets shot in an arrow.
Some furs and show her breast, but he just like sucked it up and he was fine.
Yeah, and then he stabs a guy with that arrow. They get shot in the same place, like right there.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer was a bird at the time.
Like she
could, but when she came back to be a human, then she was like, oh.
Then they were like, we have to pull an arrow out of a woman. She's gonna die.
Like pull an arrow out of a woman.
So it makes me feel a little bit better if she actually murdered the huntsman, because
that's true.
It seemed like she was just all scared into the woods and then accidentally he got killed. Oops.
What I thought was gonna happen, because Matthew Broderick throws the sword to him during that final fight, and he doesn't pick it up ever, then I think he throws it he keeps throwing his sword. He throws it through the bishop at the last second in the movie. What I thought was going to happen was that he was like in that position where the guy was going to stab down on him. And then that's when Isabeau was going to come in and like stab the guy with his sword and like save his life. That's what I wanted to happen.
Oh,
I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah, or anything.
Been better. It would have.
Other than just being like, look at this little bird hat, you dumb idiot.
You wanted to spit on him?
Yeah. Leather on the ground, son.
And then she was like, pick it up.
What if it was called...
They're doing like take after take of her like giving...
Yeah, they're like, more energy. You're mad at him.
Throw it in his face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
throw it in his face. Make a meal out of it,
Make
Michelle.
a meal out
I want
of it.
Michelle to make a meal out of it. She just doesn't. Well, I'm gonna
She
make
said,
the movie.
we're on a diet tonight.
Yeah. I'm gonna make the remake of this movie, and I'm gonna call it Dude Wolf.
Man wolf.
Man
With
Wolf.
the E at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
Yeah, with an E.
Yeah,
Wolfie.
at the end of Wolf, yeah.
Wolf.
I do think
Wolfie.
this movie is kind of cool because like there's a lot of like 80s fantasy movies, like that's a whole genre.
Yeah.
We have 10 billion of them. What I think is kind of weird about this movie is it's a fantasy movie that has magic in it. It's not high fantasy because we don't have like elves or monsters or anything. But like it's weird that we just like talk about God so much. Like
Right.
it's weird that like that's
A
what the
full-on
magic
character.
is. It's
there's,
not
like,
magic,
God-
it's the devil.
There's God and there's magic. Like,
But the magic is the
Demonic
devil
curse.
because it made the curse. Yeah.
Because he
So
made a deal
it's
with
just
the devil.
weird. Like I don't think I've ever seen that
Devil.
before. Like especially because this movie isn't like a direct parallel about anything of Christianity. Like it's not Narnia where we're like trying to tell you like a Christian story in a
Right.
fantasy
Yeah.
lens. It's just like a regular fantasy movie. And I guess that a lot of knights and stuff in the real world were religiously based. It had a lot to do with like God and like stuff like that. But it's just weird in a fantasy setting because it's like weirdly realistic, but then still also a fantasy. And like I love Matthew Broderick talking to God the whole movie. But I was like, I've never seen that before. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
It's like The Conjuring, the best Christian romance movie ever made.
Yeah. And The
Yeah.
Conjuring 2, the best Christmas movie ever made about
Yes.
Jesus.
The best Christmas
About
Christian
Jesus.
romance
this
movie ever
question
made.
like a million times in my life, but have you guys watched Willow?
I think
I've
I
not seen
may
Willow.
have once, but I don't really remember it.
Because it was like the same Labyrinth and Willow,
Right, yeah.
and I
Mm.
honestly don't remember a lot about it, but I remember that it was good, but it was the 80s, so who knows?
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was just another one of the. It was like a George Lucas, Jim Henson fantasy epic, but I don't know. The other
Jim
one of
Henson.
those we still talk about, and like we.
So maybe there's a reason
yeah,
we don't
exactly.
talk about
We still
this
talk about the
one.
Labyrinth. We still talk about the Dark Crystal, but Willow we don't really. So I don't know. Maybe.
I need to
Why?
watch the Dark
I don't
Crystal.
know.
I hear such good things about
God,
it.
How do you
Val
not
Kilmer.
see the Dark
I
Crystal?
know,
before?
I know.
I haven't
I
seen it
don't-
either.
When I go
Oh.
on walks, I listen to the Dark Crystal soundtrack because when I look at the trees and I just feel like I'm a little gelfling and I'm on a mission. It's so good. The puppetry is so good.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It makes me cry. The like all of the lore
Yeah, no,
is
I've
really
heard it's
interesting.
amazing.
Is
Yeah.
this the new movie, the new version?
The Age of Resistance is
That's
a
the
series
series,
on
yeah.
Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's also very good. It got canceled,
After one
Oh.
season,
probably because
yeah.
it's so expensive to bake.
Yeah. I was gonna say
But
the
yeah.
only thing I've heard about it is that the puppetry in it is just like breathtaking.
It's
That's cool.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Ah, I love puppets, man.
Puppets are great. No puppets in this movie.
No puppets.
No. You can't call
single
yourself
one.
an 80s fantasy
Okay,
movie
we
and not have
watched a
some
few-
kind of puppet in it.
We watched a few episodes of The Muppet Show, the like old
Right.
one.
Yeah.
There's some freaky puppets, like some
Yeah.
disturbing.
Mama
Puppetry.
hates the puppets. That's just like a guy with a mask on.
Oh.
Mom and Dad hate those.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they're like dancing. It's so
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
No, that's not good.
Well,
Not all puppets are good.
not all puppets are created equal.
Not all puppets are good.
Okay, if I can just one more minute on this puppet
That's fine.
precipice.
Puppet minute.
There's no puppets in this
That-
movie.
I understand that
I know.
puppets can be intimidating. I understand that. I personally was scared of people in mascots all my life. All my life I was. Like when I would go to Disney World. There's actually a video of me when I was 7 years old. I went to Universal Studios and I loved Curious George. And Curious George and the Man in the Yellow Hat were there. And there's just a video of me walking up and Curious George goes to hug me and I'm just like leaning back as far as I can. I'm wearing Shrek ears. I'm like
Vivid image.
Because for some reason I just knew that like that's not how Curious George is.
Right.
And I understand.
That's not right.
I understand
Who
that
is
that's
that?
how puppets can be to people.
Right.
But you're gonna miss out on E.T. if you don't like puppets. You're gonna miss out on the
Bad
Muppets
example.
if you don't. No, E.T. is great. E.T. is one of the best movies of all time.
But he is an ugly little turd monster.
Some of the best movies. You're gonna miss out on Star Wars if you don't like
True.
puppets. You're gonna Yoda. We only like puppet Yoda. We
Yeah.
hate CGI Yoda.
Yeah, CGI
Yeah.
Yoda's
Just
not
saying.
good.
You need puppets. You need puppets. They're not scary. They're
We would
important.
have no bar guys if it weren't for puppets.
No bar guys. Only boring human bar guys. If there were no
They're
puppets.
like little horns, and we think, oh, that's enough to be a monster.
Yeah,
like,
not a bar
ugh.
guy.
Yeah, not a bar
Not a
guy.
bar guy.
I need a little blue elephant.
When we say bar guys, we're talking about guys in bars in Star Wars.
Oh, God.
That's our lexicon on this
Bar
podcast.
guys.
We like to talk about bar guys. We talk about
Say,
Star
That's
Wars.
a good bar guy. That's not a good bar.
Whole
Good bar
collection of
has
bar
bar
guys.
guys.
I mean, yeah, like, what else is there to be said about Ladyhawke, really?
That
Like,
has
Okay,
already
Jackson,
been
what about
said.
that scene where when the soldiers are chasing Philippe, and then is it Navarre?
Navarre.
Navarre shows up for the first time and he goes, Captain Navarre, and then the new captain like shoves him into his sword. Wasn't that shocking?
That was dope as hell.
I don't
That
think-
was pretty. That was a cool kill.
I might not have been paying attention. I don't remember that part.
Because
That's the beginning of the movie, Jackson.
one of the soldiers referred to Navarre as Captain Navarre and
Right.
his new captain, because I gave you the whole context that they were like dueling faction of captains.
Are you guys
Did you miss
gaslighting
that
me?
whole thing?
No.
That's
That's another
another
thing.
parts of the cool skeleton.
'Cause
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't
think
actually
he
do
was-
anything with.
I
That's
would
not
have been
even
paying
what it
close attention at the beginning of the movie, and I don't remember this at
That's-
all.
He
No,
was
it
the
does.
captain, the old captain, right? Before he was like
Before he got banished by the
before he
bishop.
got banished
Right.
for loving the most beautiful girl in the world. And so then the new captain's jealous, obviously, and that's why
I
I don't know.
believe
That's
you.
why they're fighting so hard. But he shoved the guy into it just. 'Cause.
Okay.
And remember when he walked up at the very end when he's like, "Let me," and the one guy's like, "No, you're not the captain anymore," or something. And then I don't remember what happened. He hit him.
He like punches him and then he lets
Yeah,
him
he whipped
through.
him, and then all the rest of them were like, "Okay, you can be captain," and then they like let him in.
I did like
Yeah.
the part when Michelle Pfeiffer was about to fall off that like bastion.
Oh
And they're
yeah.
And she
Cool.
turns into the bird.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And then she turns into a bird halfway down. And then that other guy, they like knock him off, and you just see him like fall all the way down and like land on a rock
Yeah,
at the
why
bottom.
did they show that guy hit the ground and just like?
That was kind of awesome.
Because they want you to know that she would have died if she didn't
Right,
turn into
yeah.
a bird.
This is what would have
Yeah.
happened. On the
You-
left, walk on the left.
There's just this movie is set up to be something so incredible and something so cool, and instead they just explain the cool things and then you watch
Yeah.
them like walk around and get firewood every day.
Right? Yeah. It's like
You watch them wake up every morning and that's it.
it's like
Hey,
Harry
that
Potter
guy
and the
tried to
Deathly
murder him in
Hallows.
the woods for no reason. Remember the guy that tried to murder with the crazy wife?
Right.
With the axe?
Crazy farmers, yeah.
Tried to kill Philippe?
hmm
This movie is like Harry Potter
no
and the Deathly
reason,
Hallows
yeah.
Part 1, but somehow worse. That's what this movie's like.
It's like what?
Jackson, you like the Deathly
I
Hallows
do
Part
like-
1?
I said this movie's like Harry Potter and
Oh.
the Deathly Hallows Part 1, but worse.
But worse.
But not good.
It has so much potential, and until there's a Ladyhawke remake
Dude Wolf.
and they actually show the things, Dude Wolf with an E,
Yes.
they have to when they show the things that they say, I'm gonna have to cling on to this movie hard because it's such an interesting premise, and I have such nostalgia for it that I'm just gonna have to keep holding tight until this.
It will always have a place in my heart, no matter how bad it is. Like it's just
Keisha, this is exactly what fan fiction is for. This is like the like
yeah.
They wrote their
nobody
own
else
fan
gets it.
fiction
Nobody else
though.
understands my love.
I don't need to
Yeah.
rewrite the things because it's cool to have a disgraced captain and cool to have a love story where the two people can't be with each other, and it's cool
Right.
to have like this
But we already
fantastical.
did that, yeah.
They did it, but they didn't actually do it. I want to see
Yeah.
the things. I don't want to hear about the
Hear
things.
about it.
And
It's
until
like-
the day the curse is broken, and I may walk in the day at the same time as this movie existing, I'm just gonna have to hold on to hope
until that
There we
solar
go.
eclipse runs around.
and tell the
Yeah.
truth. Tell the truth
I
until the
think-
So
eclipse.
the day is night and the night is day.
I think they could do a remake. I feel like this is the kind of movie that they might. But I don't
It can
know.
only go
Probably could.
People
yeah.
care about it or know what it is.
But you are
Well, that's
always
perfect.
surprised. Yeah, something from the 80s
True.
that like some people know about is the kind of stuff that always gets rebooted.
That's true. So
So
this
you
is
know.
I'm calling out everyone listening to this podcast.
Warner Brothers.
Watch
Share it
Ladyhawke.
with your friends. Tweet to the world. # Ladyhawke remake with an E, of course.
Yes.
with an E.
At the end of remake.
With at the end of remake.
Wait.
# Ladyhawke remake. We want it. We need it.
Okay, so am I being pushy? Are we done? Like what's to be said?
Trying to
Let me
think.
double check my notes.
Said my piece.
Because last
Is it
time I
already-
tried to wrap up the podcast, you were rude to me, Adeline.
What?
So now.
Well, it's because I had more things to
I
say.
had things to say.
I wasn't done talking.
He's just so
Oh, I
happy
do
that we
really
did
like.
this.
We haven't talked about the monk at all. The monk is like the second best part of the
Oh,
movie,
right.
other
Yeah,
than
I mean,
Matthew
yeah, I guess.
Broderick.
Yeah, I like
monk
the
guy
part
running
where
around,
he's-
very fun.
Tim
Where
the
he's,
priest.
like
We
setting
talked
like
about him
booby
a little.
traps. So,
Yeah.
but he doesn't
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like he's doing it
Yeah.
on purpose.
No,
That's
that
kinda fun.
whole big castle is like such a fun set piece. I feel like that's the only action scene that like works. Is those guys like trying to get into like his little dilapidated castle and like they keep like running into things and like all these little
Right.
payoffs of like, oh, you're supposed to walk on the right side of the bridge, and then he walks through the middle and he falls through, like stuff like that. Like that scene's super fun. Feels like a part of a movie that you would want to watch where
Right.
something happens.
With a little comedic relief.
My favorite fight
Yeah.
scene was when at the very beginning, like one of the soldiers gets shot with an arrow, but he gets shot and then a whole beat goes by and he goes, ah! Like it's just so delayed.
I liked it when he took a guy and he threw him against a wooden door and knocked him out cold. Like
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
really great
he
exchange.
kind
He's dead now.
Fell into it and then he died apparently. Like why are the fight scenes in old movies so bad?
Right.
Like
Yeah. Like,
And
haven't
like-
we been doing fight scenes like since Shakespeare? Like, shouldn't we be good at it always?
and it's like 6 guys to 1 guy, and the one guy just like elbows one guy and he goes flying off a cliff and,
And the other
dies.
guys are
and
all
then,
waiting.
and
Yeah.
then, they're all waiting their turn.
Yeah.
That's because that is gentleman sportsman like. That's how duels work. One on one.
There's
It's
a really
6
great.
people, 1 guy.
There's a great exchange between Rutger Hauer and Matthew Broderick at one point in this movie where Rutger Hauer's like, the sun's going down. And Matthew Broderick's like, how can you tell?
Like,
The sun's going down.
I've
What?
seen a lot of sunsets. Like,
Well, we talked about how weird the lighting was,
Yeah.
so maybe
Maybe he's just
Yeah,
remarking
he's
on
like,
it.
maybe it's just
what are
what
you
the
talking
world's
about?
like.
It's 3 in the
I don't know.
afternoon.
It always looks exactly the same.
I can tell because it's
Especially
kind of
some
blue
deep
right
lore
now.
that we just ignored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
sky
never
was
actually-
pink, and now it's like a hazy periwinkle.
Let's
So
light a fire and see if you can see it. Then you know it's nighttime.
Right, yeah.
There we go.
I also just think the name Ladyhawke is very funny because this is not like based on an old story or anything. It's just something that. Oh, I forgot
It's
to say this on the
original, baby.
podcast. Kezia, did you notice who wrote this movie?
no.
Tom
Who?
Mankiewicz, Mank's nephew.
It's a fake dynasty.
This is a Mank picture.
So you should like it way more.
Yeah, that was perfect.
But
It's exactly like Citizen Kane.
but Ladyhawke, like, what kind of name is that for the movie? Just like, I don't know. There's a lady. She's a hawk.
Yeah,
We call
that's
it-
why
Well,
the
it's-
lady is a hawk.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done.
And then they make Matthew Broderick say it at one point, so it's like I guess he kind of justified it, but it's
Yeah,
like
it's a
Like
little
a
I don't
different.
know,
Yeah.
she's a lady
Yeah.
hawk. She's a hawk lady.
Yeah, because when she's a kid, he calls her "milady," and when she's
they call. I mean, that's like the lexicon of the time. They called them
right.
maybe. Now it'd be like Miss Hawk. I don't know.
Mrs. Hawk.
Ma'am.
Is there a Mr. Hawk?
There is a
No, but there is a dude wolf.
It's better. Ladyhawke is
nasty.
just, it captures you, you know? You're like, ooh, Ladyhawke,
True.
intrigue.
Oh,
What's
I
it
heard
about?
Why is this lady a hawk?
Maybe she's a
Hawk in this
princess.
one.
too.
What kind? I need you to explain the
Oh,
premise
wait.
to me further.
If she was a princess, it would be Princess Hawk.
Yeah,
Never mind.
The Hawk
Yeah.
Princess.
The Hawk.
Rise of the
Allergy.
Guardians of the Hawk Princess.
It's a sequel to Owls of Gahul.
Yes.
Oh, I wish that the Owls of Gahul was just a different movie about birds of prey, like just going down the line.
Yeah, owls, hawks, eagles.
Yeah, eagles. Yeah, you got all.
Except
of
you
them.
couldn't call it the Eagles, or else you'd get sued by somebody.
What's up
Yes.
with YA literature these days? What's hot right now?
I don't know.
Mhm.
Whenever I went to the library with the kids that I babysat, I would stick to the children's graphic novels because for some reason the teens graphic novels always were bad.
Right.
And for some reason, one of the YA books I picked up at the library was called My Girlfriend's a Cosplayer, so I put that one right back on the shelf and went on with my life.
We used to do a lot of like anthropomorphic animal fantasy, but I feel like I don't see that
Polar bear
anymore.
one.
Warriors. That's what it was
Yeah,
called.
Warriors,
Warrior
Guardians
Cats,
of Gahul, and Redwall, and
Oh, Tale of Despero.
Swordbird.
Tale of Despero. I remember that one.
Matthew Broderick was also in Tale of Despero.
Guts all coming together.
How about the Rats of Nim?
Oh yeah, that's a different,
Yeah.
that's a different era, but that's also
But like we
That's
don't really
what I
do that
remember.
anymore.
Fivel Goes West,
Because we're like even past the like teen
like
dystopia.
dystopian.
Like
yeah.
we've moved past that
Yeah,
now,
we're
right?
getting
Or are we
tired
still
of
in
that.
there?
I
So
think
it's all romance and like activism. I feel like.
Right. So they
That's
Like
like
the Hate You Speak, yeah.
they like present day like normal kids stories now. The
Yeah.
John Green-esque stories,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
will.
Trauma and
Mhm.
Yeah.
sadness and disease and
Well, but all the classics are still there. This is like Harry
Right.
Potter and Percy Jackson are still staples, like stuff like that.
I've been pleasantly surprised by how many kids still like Percy Jackson because I
Right.
thought
Oh, yeah.
I personally prefer Percy Jackson over Harry Potter. Sorry, everybody.
He's still writing those things. They still have a
Yeah.
new one every year.
Rick
or so.
Riordan, yeah.
I just
Oh,
I was
and
Well,
worried.
it's like
I was
it's
worried it was
easy
gonna
to
die
go-
out.
series of unfortunate events kids read too.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
so.
That's had a little bit of a comeback because there's a Netflix show, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but kids
Mhm.
are still reading
Those
it.
books are so good.
Ran, they are good.
Like I pick those up every once in a while and I'm like, oh, this still rules.
Read
This
it.
is still the best. Like,
Yeah.
still having.
So good.
yeah.
I remember my like favorite like book that I used to read when I was a kid. It was the Boxcar Children, but
I
only
love
the
that
first
book.
one. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but Boxcar Children is that I don't remember why, but a bunch of orphans, they live in a boxcar and they just like live their life, like trying to figure it out. Like the older brother like goes to work and the girls like make bread from water from the creek and like we have a fun time. And I think they solve a murder or whatever. But then at the end of the first book, they get adopted by some rich dude. So they're no longer the Boxcar Children because they immediately get adopted.
Right.
And then they're just solving murders for the rest of like the 12 billion books. I'm like, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't want Scooby Doo, but they're all rich kids now. Like that's not what I
Oh no,
wanted.
Annie becomes a detective.
Right.
Annie also
Yeah.
becomes a detective after she gets adopted. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's your only path. The only path is detecting once you've been adopted. It makes
Yeah.
sense
Once you've been
to me,
adopted.
personally.
Only after.
Precocious and intelligent. That's your
You're
only-
gonna find a dead body and you're gonna find out why it's there.
What if we
Probably
started
some
a-
property disputes.
What if we started a book club on the podcast and we just read the Animorphs books?
Yeah.
What if like once every 2 weeks we came
Wait,
back with a new
They
Animorphs book?
cannot be good stories, right?
I don't know.
No, they're excellent. They're
They
great.
get weird, like
mean, look,
really weird.
They're probably written by like 8 different people.
Oh
Like,
yeah. But I mean, Jackson just checked them out so he could flip the pages.
I mean,
Yeah.
I read some of them. I read like a few, but most of the time, yeah, I would just check them out and I'd do the flip book and I'd look at the hologram and enjoy myself that way.
Well, like there was one where, because the deal is, if you stay in animal form for like 2 hours, two hours, you stay an animal forever.
Tobias.
And that's drama.
Yeah.
That's drama.
That's
I'm
drama.
looking for drama.
Drama, baby.
I need the drama.
I
I'm
remember.
excited to see where the young adults, the next big thing is,
Yeah.
because I'm glad that we're phasing out of the dystopian future. I feel like we've seen that
exhausting,
played
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I love the Hunger Games, but Divergent, I did
more
not.
of them.
You can only
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
them so many times.
Yeah.
Same.
There's
So,
a
like,
new Hunger Games book. What's up with that?
It's I think it's like the first Hunger Games. It's like the first Purge.
Oh, it's like a prequel.
Yeah. I had only seen the first Purge. And when
Well, of course, it's the first one.
but
Yeah.
but
And then there are more of them.
But when you say, "Oh, I've seen the first Purge," they're like, "Oh yeah, the Purge, the one that came out before all of the other ones." You say, "No, the last one."
Called the first
Titled
Purge.
"The First
The First
Purge."
Purge.
Bad marketing.
The first
It's bad
Purge.
mark. You want to go see the first Purge? No, I've already seen the first Purge.
The first
No. You haven't seen the first Purge because it hasn't come out yet.
The first Purge.
The first Purge.
Okay, so anyway. I feel like we've run out of Ladyhawke talk. Lady talk.
Hey,
Yeah,
Animorphs
Late
is related. Like people
Animorphs,
turning into animals.
It predated Animorphs.
Did
It predated.
this was
It predated
the ancestor
wanting
to
to-
Ooh, it was inspired by Ladyhawke.
Could be.
Animorphs.
Exact. A lot of things are, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You think about it.
I mean, I don't know. I think a middle-aged white lady named K.A. Applegate is the kind of person who probably was into Ladyhawke. That just tracks to me.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, Kezia, do you want to do our plugs? Wrap up the show?
I do. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, like and comment and maybe subscribe. Think about that. We would love that if you do that.
Get that through your brain. See
if
how
you-
it feels.
If you feel like you have more things to say about puppets, Ladyhawke,
Fruit.
Fox and the Hound,
Don't
or
say
fruit.
the word fruit.
Happy 1 month fruit anniversary, everybody.
Apparently. I'm not
Apparently.
fact-checking that. They just said that. on
I'm not
Discord.
either. That it could be true. It could not be true. But
It
if you
feels
would
like
like
we've
to
been
talk,
doing it for years.
Yeah, it feels like it's been 10
that's
years.
fruit is timeless. But if you'd like to talk about any of those things, join us in our Discord. The link is in the description. We talk about lots of different stuff, namely fruit.
Mostly fruit.
Mostly fruit. You can also follow us on Twitter at NoNerdsPod. You can follow Jackson at Jepperpack. You can follow Adeline at HollowBackhorse. And you can follow me as we storm Warner Bros. And demand a Ladyhawke remake.
Dude wolf,
Meet-
dude wolf,
Meet
dude
me
wolf.
in LA. We'll do a meetup on Hollywood Boulevard. We're not doing not yet, at least.
Buy a billboard.
Not yet.
That works, I've learned.
Yeah. Also, happy Mother's Day. Jen, thank you for being here. If there's anything you'd like to plug, you should do that now. If not, you can
I'm
just
good.
Plug the
Okay.
middle school you work at.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I moved on to high school, Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
But still English.
Still English.
It's an important language.
So next week,
We're writing an essay.
next week we're doing Randy, correct?
Yeah.
It's Randy Johnson.
Okay. So next week is the return of Randy's Choice, and the random movie generator came up with The Weatherman, starring Nicolas Cage. So that's gonna be our movie next week. Gore Verbinski's The Weatherman. I've never seen it. I'm excited about it. And so now we're
You're just on a Gore Verbinski push because of Blank Check.
I mean, that's true, but it's also just what the random movie generator came up with. So,
Also,
So
It's a good lead-in to a series where we watch Nicolas Cage movies with the word "man" in the title, because there's a lot of them. The Weatherman, Wicker Man, Family Man, which exists.
I don't think I know that
Spider-Man.
one.
I've talked about it so many times. I literally talked about it last week.
What was that last one? Did you just say Spider-Man?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I was like...
Think about it.
Man.
But the Family Man exists. It's
Okay.
the one where it's a Christmas movie.
Okay.
You can watch it at Christmas.
We'll watch it at Christmas time, I guess. I don't know.
I've heard of that movie.
Exactly. If it exists, it exists.
There are dozens of us. Okay, so would you guys like to hear? Would you guys like to hear a 1-star review of Ladyhawke?
I guess. I don't know if my heart can take it.
Oh, actually, I'm switching up the format this time. I forgot. This is not a review. This is a comment, because I have recently discovered the gold mine that is that, like, if you rent movies like through YouTube, they still have like a comment section like every other YouTube video does, and the comment sections on like VOD films on YouTube are wild, and I just wanted to read one of these. So this is a YouTube comment on Ladyhawke, and it says, "I don't have a lot of hope with love and romance. I watched this entire movie, and I'm moved, and I keep having hope."
Yeah, that's great.
1 star? Oh no, just a comment. Gotcha.
Yeah, just a comment.
So I'd say.
That's what it's all for, man.
Yeah, if this movie could do one thing, if it inspired hope for love in that one person,
and romance.
You know,
romance.
That brings joy. Maybe there's someone out there for you, but they're just a wolf when you're a human,
Right.
and you're a bird when he's not a wolf.
If you've been cursed, it's not your fault.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a wolf when you're a human, that's just a wolf. I hate to break it to you.
That's true. That's true. On every level except physical, I am a wolf. So
There we go.
Also, Shrek was inspired by Ladyhawke. I forgot.
Yes,
that's
true.
the last thing.
That's
Shrek.
also accurate.
That
Just
actually.
saying. Fiona is a friggin' only an
Well,
open
but okay, no,
night.
we have to actually have this conversation now because Ian tried to tell me that earlier, and I was like, no, I don't think
It's
so.
gotta
Okay,
be-
fine.
it's
Okay,
gotta
I'll put
be.
this in at the end of the
Wait.
podcast.
Okay, no, hold on. Well, because Shrek is just making fun of fantasy staples, and like the staples of like, oh, they're cursed and they're in love and they transform, just seems like fantasy staples to me. So that's why it's in Shrek, because Shrek is making fun of those fantasy staples. Like, I don't think it's.
Find
You're right,
another.
they're very similar, but I don't
Find
think they're like
another one.
directly inspired by each
I
other.
think it is. I think it is.
Alright,
I'm gonna.
I mean,
I'll
what
call
other-
my
tales of
The
fairy tales.
Ladyhawke is based on those same.
Which fairy tales?
Like,
I was gonna say, I can't really think of any other ones.
Princess in the Frog.
Princess and the
Idiot.
Frog.
Princess doesn't turn into a frog.
There's 12,000. But you kiss somebody and they're cursed to be an animal, and then they come back and they're the
And
other thing.
also,
There's
Princess and the
what's
Frog.
the one fantasy tale
the
where
prin-
she gets turned into a goose and she comes back?
Princess.
I'm gonna have to go get my Grimm fairy tale book.
'Cause, like,
Yeah,
the
that's
Princess
one
and
of
the
them.
Frog-
In one of the Grimm's fairy tales, she turns into a goose and then she gets turned back into a person.
But the Princess and the Frog is not the Disney version, Adeline. Because Princess and the Frog is just like a princess found a frog. It was
No,
like, hey,
no.
I'm a prince, and then that was that.
Yeah, and then
They
she
were
kisses
never,
him
like,
and then he
in
turns into
love.
a prince.
Yes, they were never like in love and cursed to be apart
I'm
because
saying
he was a
those
frog.
kind of transformation stories. Shrek and Fiona aren't apart. They're just
Different.
they can't be together because of the social things.
Of that curse.
And not because Fiona's a human,
Only
because
at
Shrek
night,
is an
though.
ogre.
I think we all need to do some research.
It's like
The
Call
The
Me by Your
werewolves
Name.
Do
in
some
I was
homework,
gonna-
general.
I was gonna say
Come
that
back.
also what werewolf
Werewolves
happens to
with
werewolf.
some evidence.
Yeah. I would say
But there
they're
is no
playing on
Ladyhawke.
themes. Both of them are playing on themes that already exist in fantasy, so that's why they're similar. I do not think they're directly
Right.
inspired by each
I
other.
think it is. I'm gonna
Great.
Is there someone we could call?
Mike Myers.
Hello, Shrek.
What-
Pick up.
Hello, is this
Donkey.
Shrek?
Is this Shrek?
Shrek.
Can I speak to Shrek, please?
I mean, Michael Katzenberg's probably not doing a lot now that Quibi's dead.
Right, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
So-
Follow.
We can
Yo,
find
Jeffy.
out.
Hey, what's up? Can I
Because
talk
of
to you?
Ladyhawke.
Can I talk to you for a quick bite? Can I talk to you?
Ladyhawke, perfect story for Quibi.
Quibi reboot of Ladyhawke. Bring it back. Bring Quibi back.
Bring Quibi back.
Hello! You're welcome, Jeff.
What?
I just fixed your whole thing.
What platform did all the Quibi shows get migrated to?
The garbage can.
Zero? None?
No, there was something. Somebody bought the catalog. I want to do a Quibi deep dive now that it's all over.
Quibi was like, what if we made Vine, but it was just celebrities doing dramatic skits?
No, I mean, they were...
Is that what Quibi was?
No, they're like
Is
TV
this
shows,
social
but
media?
they're like 5 to 10 minute episodes. And
Okay, gotcha.
part of the bit was like you could watch them horizontally or vertically. Like the bit was like you can watch this on the bus. You can watch this like on a commute. If you have 10 minutes to yourself, you can watch a whole episode of something.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and nobody liked it. Nobody
it's
wanted
dead
it.
now.
And nobody bought it, and it went out of business like immediately. People were like, "No, fuck this.
Yeah.
We don't want it."
Millennials will pay us money to watch 5 minutes worth of entertainment. But you know what else is 5 minutes worth of entertainment is like YouTube and it's
yeah,
free.
exactly.
Just put on a podcast.
Well,
for
even like
an audio.
even like all the short term like social media that we have, like we have TikTok is super short because I only want to watch a teenager dancing for so long, you know, like
Well,
the reason
yeah,
those
yeah.
are short is because we just give it its
Like,
chance and then we move
move
on.
on.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know, because that's the thing. It's
It was-
interesting. It's kind of like YouTube Red. It's one of those things where it's like, this is not a service people want. We're making a lot of content for this, but nobody's engaging with it. But that doesn't mean that there's not like some good stuff on there. Like there's
Good.
still like people
Yeah.
making, and they have like a lot of big names. There was one with Idris Elba in
They
it. There was
do,
one with
yeah.
Anna Kendrick. They did a Reno 911 reboot on Quibi.
whack though.
Yeah, like it's
So,
so
can
weird.
you access these things still, Jackson?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I
No.
remember reading that somebody bought the library. Hold on.
They're gonna put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Bring back
Roku.
Quibi.
Roku acquires Quibi
Roku?
library.
Ooh.
So now we have to go buy a
That's
Roku.
another thing. That's another one of the streaming services that like is like always on the cusp of dying is Roku.
Yeah. So
No,
it says
well,
I
that
don't know
they're
what
not
they
on
are.
Roku at the
Equivalent
moment,
to
but
the
they will
Fire
be
Stick.
soon.
Well, I can't wait until that day. I'm gonna watch
When that
so
during
much
the day I'm here and during the night Roku's there. Or the opposite.
It just do you remember those? It was like those Diet Coke commercials where there was just like a young girl and she was like, "Why do I drink Diet Coke? Because I can." That was like supposed to appeal to like people our age.
Right.
And when I
To
saw that,
Gen
I was
Z,
like,
yeah.
I will never drink Diet Coke now. 'cause
Ever
you
again.
Did that to me.
Yeah.
Like that's what Quibi felt like. They're like, what do the millennials need? Short bits of content
Right.
that's digestible,
Yeah.
and you're gonna like it. And I was like, I will
Mm,
not like it now because you said that to me. I will hate it now.
forever.
Yeah.
You reverse psychologied me into not wanting your product.
Yeah.
Take that.
Take that, Jeffrey.
There's so
Yes,
many
word.
things in the world that I have not like read, watched, listened to because someone told me it was for me. It's gonna like, or everybody else did, and I was like,
Right.
no. Like I didn't watch Titanic till like 15 years later because I was so irritated by the whole
The
thing.
mom
I was like,
movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was me with The Greatest Showman. I had it was either people being like, this movie was made for you, you're gonna love it.
The
Or,
kids unite.
or on the other side, it was, I hated this movie. It's the worst movie in the world. You're gonna hate it so much. And then I watched it and I was like, this is
That was whatever.
pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like some of
What
that.
keeps happening-
Fellow music man Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yes.
What keeps happening? So at my store, for some reason, we just have like a store radio that we can't control that just plays like music, and it plays some pretty random music, but it's all just like radio music.
Right.
Except every once in a while, they will
They
play
Shapoopy.
covers. No, they will play covers of musical songs, but it's literally songs from like Dear Evan Hansen and
Right.
also like The Greatest Showman, and they're just like these covers from people I've never heard. They keep playing this cover of Let It Go. That's like these two people just making a fucking meal out of it. It's the worst. I hate it. God, if you ever think to yourself, I would like to sing Let It Go, go ahead. If you find yourself just going way too hard, please stop. You ruined all meaning for that song ever, period.
Should we do Greatest
Let It Go
Showman?
is this is the greatest show.
It was the greatest show. It was the greatest show, though.
Sure. It
a
truly
good show.
was. I'm glad that people liked The Greatest Showman, like, because just Hugh Jackman wanted it so badly.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I didn't love it. I probably wouldn't ever watch it again
That's one
on
of
my
those movies-
own free choice, but
Yeah, that just became so polarizing. It just kind of became exhausting, like, immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I think
lasted
it's
for
fine.
so
I think
long.
it's a fine movie.
yeah. It's
But the reasons people loved it were Nolan voice. Like,
yeah, it was. I do think the song, the Rewrite the Stars, that one, I think that's
I don't remember
like
that one.
that whole sequence is the one with
That's
Zac
the
Efron
one,
and
yeah.
Zendaya. Like, it's beautiful,
Oh.
it's shot well, it's engaging, it's interesting, it's
That's
sad.
when Zac Efron climbs up the wall like Spider-Man.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's
And he
pieces of
jumps
it.
onto Zendaya and her arm doesn't just dislocate out of her socket. And that's
Crumble.
I'm forgetting that we did already do The Prestige, in which Hugh Jackman does play the Greatest Showman.
which
He just likes doing it.
who is the greatest showman is actually Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman in The Prestige.
I would talk about The Greatest Showman because it's just like a mind-boggling movie.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Like, why is it kind of biographical but only
Yeah.
in name?
That
Like,
was my
a
big take.
single name.
Like, there are a lot of things about that movie where people were like, he was actually bad and he owned slaves and, animal abuse and it was like extorting these people. It wasn't like a family and like all these things about like the real life story that were like not accurate and problematic about it. And I was like, yeah, obviously I kind of went into this movie knowing most of that stuff. Like, but this movie has like such a loose grasp on the true story. Just give him a different name. Just be like, this story was kind of inspired by the story of P.T. Barnum. This is Philip T. Circusman, and he invented the circus. Like, nobody would have had a problem.
His last name is actually just Showman.
This
Like,
is Matthew Showman.
No, The Greatest Showman.
The greatest. Yeah, he's like, my name is Philip T. Showman, and I
Greatest
I've invented-
Showman. That's my
invented the
father.
circus.
My name is Matthew.
Please call me Matt.
or even just like weird slander campaign 100 years later about after what's like Jenny, whatever her name is. Like, they were like, she was a slut and she tried to break up P.T. Barnum and his wife. And in real life, she was like super charitable and like very kind to everyone. But in this movie, she's just like a seductress, I guess, for some reason.
Because we already have one type of woman, which is women that you like, and now we need the second type of woman, which is bitches who like to have sex. Yeah, so we need both of those. So I'm sorry, we just didn't meet our quota.
Yeah, the drama can't just be the hubris of Hugh Jackman. It has to be
hubris.
He also, and it's not. He doesn't even cheat on her. It's like a weird misunderstanding that she like force kisses him, which is also like not okay.
Weird, bad,
assault,
weird.
Headquarter Production just said something in the chat. Hugh Jackman is collecting all the kinds of stage work, and then he could be the only showman.
Yeah,
that would be a world I would want to live in.
That's a world I want.
It's everything is just only Hugh Jackman
all
always.
It's Hugh all the way down.
Yeah,
Hugh all the time. Hugh all the way up.
I'm 100% for that. 100%.
Except that the only problem with that is that The Prestige would be a much more confusing movie than it already is.
Oh, even more confusing. Got no clue what's going on.
That I would buy into that though. It's
Hell
just,
yeah.
Prestige, but
everybody.
I'm gonna go watch The Prestige right now. I don't even care.
Yeah, we know you are, Jackson.
Yeah, that's like the least. We probably talk about The Prestige like at least every other time.
Yeah, I love The Prestige.
Okay, what we talk about? Jackson talks about The
it.
Prestige. Adeline talks about Bioshock. Kezia talks about Black Mirror.
I didn't talk about Black Mirror this time. I
I could have.
That's our bingo card. I could, but I didn't.
One day since Keisha talked talked about Black Mirror. There isn't a Black Mirror where anyone turns into a bird, so
We need to make a bingo card for listening to the podcast that has stuff like that on it.
Oh, you should have a bingo card. That'd be awesome.
That might be
Yeah.
fun.
well,
Every time.
I guess I'll make one. I love making bingo cards.
Oh,
My
I
favorite.
did also just realize that I totally forgot to upload our Mortal Kombat episode to podcast platforms. I edited it and had it all ready on time, and then I just forgot to put it up. So sorry about that. I'll do that right now.
It's going up right now. Look at my watch.
I was just looking at our podcast. I was like, oh, whoops.
Never did it.
But anyway.
Something's good.
Okay.
I can't get to the. No, this is not a problem, but I'll figure it out.
I guess we already did all of our end things. We didn't actually say
we're good.
goodbye.
Yeah, we're in post podcast now. So thank you guys for showing up. You guys hanging out. Elsie and Dylan and Headquarter Productions coming in at the last second, the buzzer beater.
Also, sorry that you don't like puppets, bro, but I'm just saying some of the best movies in the world have puppets, and I don't know.
Sorry, dog.
Couldn't be me.
Just gonna be missing out on a lot of media. That's really good.
It's an art form. It's art.
Ever heard of Sesame Street?
Nobody's like, I don't like paintings. I just think they're creepy, you know? Like
one time, oh my gosh. I thought that I was going to a puppet workshop at the National Thespian Festival, and I walked into a play, and I'd already sat down and I didn't know what to do, so I just sat through a really bad play. For an hour and a half. I missed out on my puppet workshop.
Oh man.
So mad.
Oh, there was a puppet workshop and you missed it?
There was. I just went to the wrong building.
That sucks.
The one time that I went to one of those, we had the one time I went to one of those, we had a directing workshop that I was super excited about because that was back when I thought I wanted to be a director. But the person who was going to do the director workshop was sick and just didn't show up. And so there was a crowd of 20 kids and they were like, do you guys want to learn how to make molds? And we were like, no. We came here for a directing seminar. And they're like, here's how you make a mold. And we're like, okay.
We're going to teach you.
The same. This is good.
Oh, well.
I'm trying to think if
I did take a puppet class, and she was just like, it was an improv. They were like, this is what an improv puppet is. You take anything, you go, hello, my name is Noah. So sometimes we'll just be like, we'll pick something up and be like, improv puppet. Hello there.
That's the worst.
That is the workshop.
There was a class on that.
That's the worst show.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it could be anything. You're like, oh, there's an improv puppet for you.
I think every parent learns that trick when you have babies.
Yeah.
Well, now you can use
That's codified.
Improv puppet.
Yes, it's an improv puppet.
I don't have any good improv puppets. I got
No, there are. That's a great improv puppet. It's a great improv puppet.
Wait, what did you have, Jackson?
Improv puppet.
Just little tweezers.
I can't even see it.
There are no bad improv puppets.
My name's Tweezy. I'm the second.
There are no wrong answers.
Yes.
My dream is to be the greatest showman.
I want to take advantage of people with physical deformities, and I'll make money off of them. This is the greatest show.
This is the greatest show.
Oh well.
Okay.
Past is the past. That's a good improv puppet.
We're having too much fun. What time is it?
7:27 for you.
Right. I just want to make sure we haven't been going for 3 hours.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay, so we're done now though. I think we'll call it a day.
We're done.
Okay, you guys are awesome. It was nice hanging out with you. Thanks for letting me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks for sharing a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Mother.
Mother.
I've got my squishy. Mother.
Look at the chat. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.